Special occasion break that one.
I kept count of these whiskey bottles. I'm going to make sure.
Yeah. All right.
With antlers and whiskey. Yeah.
Check some audios quick. We should be checking over on the Facebook side. Facebook, we got good audio. And on the YouTube, check that out quick. Tube's all set too, so we are live in Mike Vienna's garage for episode 18 of Whitetails and Whiskey. Mike invited us to come out and hang out and have some whiskey and talk a little bit of stuff. And yeah, so thanks for having us, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. Yes.
Appreciate it. And so we got the live chat like always. So we'll see comments come in real time for those folks viewing on the page, all that good stuff. And we'll check the Facebook and the YouTube. And then we're also over on the Bullhorn if you want to call in. You can call in right on the Bullhorn app. That's a cool feature that we got with this. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk about kind of you, Mike, and the upstate New York Sportsman's and how that got started and all that good stuff, and kind of introduce yourself a little bit to the people checking it out.
Yeah, thanks. Well, it was probably like about 15 years ago. Got an idea to start up a Facebook, like a group and a website, and then of course we got on Facebook, and I love hunting, I love fishing. Most of the guys, most of my friends do the same thing, hunt and fish. So we started out with the website, went to Facebook, and right now we got over 34,000 people that are on our group. So we've definitely gotten a lot bigger. Each day we probably get 30 or 40 posts a day on Upstate NY Sportsman, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Every year we do a trout derby through Upstate NY Sportsman.
Great thing for the youth.
Yes.
You got little kids interested in fishing or anything like that. Mike does a great job with definitely coordinating it towards the youth from what I've seen, and the trophies, and you do a little raffle and everything.
Absolutely. All the kids get a prize.
Yep.
No matter whether they catch a fish, whether they, everybody gets something. We give away a charter. And I got to give a shout out to Jeff Newton. He's helped me along the way with the website, the Facebook group, the page, the trout derby. My wife, Mary, and Melody Newton, and we got some admins. We got other admins, and we got moderators that we needed to put on, but that are volunteers. I mean, that's people that donate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Upstate New York Sportsman, you could post anything. It could be anything outdoor related. Absolutely. So, I know we dropped a question on early on what people want to talk about. So we got some ideas where we'll go with conversation and stuff tonight. But if there's anything you guys watching want to talk about, drop it right in the comments. We can see it live, and we can pick right up on whatever people want to hear and talk about.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of the cool thing about this podcast is it's live real time.
absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I enjoy scrolling through the page. I at least probably scroll through it every other day just to see, especially deer season, just to see what people are shooting or what people are saying or anything like that. It's definitely a good site for New York to just go on and see what hunters are doing in New York.
And guys like you that shoot big buck, you could post it on there, and I don't usually put my doe on there.
There's a little bit of luck involved in everything, I guess. Yeah. What goes around comes around, Mike.
Absolutely.
You'll get one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a matter of time.
So I had a comment come in from Mike Dieter. Said, could you give a new group a shout out, New York Hunting Stories? Said, please and thank you. So I'm guessing another Facebook group came about hunting stories. And thanks for tuning in, Mike. And if there's something you want to talk about, or like I said, anybody else wants to talk about, we can get after it. But pull up the poll quick, because I put the poll up on the page.
Have to check that out.
Yeah.
I think I've actually heard of it. I think it's actually come across my feed or whatever.
So, well, I guess we kick it off with the whiskey we're drinking tonight.
Yeah.
So we tapped into Mike's stash, and
Yeah.
Mike tapped into some of the stuff I brought over. We're drinking. Me and Nate got a pour of good old Jack Daniel's No. 7 Green Label.
Yeah,
Classic.
It'll go to.
Little classic.
Started out with a little red stag, and then of course Ben gave me some what is it, Knob Creek
Yeah, Knob 15.
15 from their 15th episode, and that's very smooth. Not normally a whiskey drinker, but I figured tonight I had to
Yeah.
follow suit,
That's
and
all right.
that's a very, very good drink.
Yeah, I think you can get those. I don't know, like $120. You know, if you find them. You know, just like anything else, you can pay more than that. You just might see some stores jack them up.
Yeah.
But, if you're looking for a good budget one and that kind of knob taste, that Knob 9's another good one that we've had on the show before too. And that one you can get right for like $30, 33.
Yeah.
So that's a go-to. So I guess we'll start off with our cheers, guys.
All right.
Thanks for inviting us over, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
We'll do this again for sure.
Absolutely.
So, Bills?
Yeah, go Bills.
Go Bills. Still got the team and
Yep.
Hamlin in our prayers.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Got to.
Hopefully we can hear some good news soon on him.
Got to. So the top poll was we're talking about shed hunting tonight, which is coming quick. I've heard a lot of people say they got ones dropping already. I haven't been out to pull cameras yet after season. I think that's what I'm doing this weekend when we finally get to go over to my parents for Christmas because they had COVID again. This seems to be going back around. So
Huge wave of it, seems like.
Yeah.
I dealt with it with the holidays with family.
Yep.
People couldn't go somewhere. That, we usually have a party or
Right.
vice versa. It seemed like it definitely affected the holidays for me this year, too.
For sure.
yeah, so. But yeah, for shed hunting and stuff like that, like I said, I usually start looking at my cameras, seeing when I'm seeing a majority of bucks drop. I know you saw a half rack the other night.
Yeah, I saw a half rack out with a muzzleloader, and I actually saw him towards the end of gun season, and talked to two other people, and they've seen half racks or deer with antlers that are shed on their cameras.
Yep.
And
I think there was a post right on the Upstate Sportsman's page of a guy that when he was pulling it out, popped both of them off.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
they're starting to hit the ground, and I mean, if we don't got snow cover, and I got a majority of them that are shed out on some of the pieces I have permission to shed hunt on and stuff like that, I might go for a walk or two.
Yeah.
Get the dust busted off a bear to get out there and look for some sheds,
Yeah.
and always a good time.
Rudy's rearing to go too. Anytime he could get out.
Absolutely. He's a little bit of everything dog for you.
Well, yeah, he'll hunt pheasants. He's found antlers over the years, and a little pile back here he's found, and many more. And he'll do whatever. I could throw a ball out in the outlet right now. He'll swim across there and get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a comment come in. Mike says, so this year, 3 days before the gun opener and first day, I seen 2 different sets of mature bucks running together. All these years I've hunted, I've never seen that before. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things. Could be that. Could be they were on a doe trail that was on, coming into heat, or it could just be that they're, most of the does are bred out and they're grouping back up. I've seen that too. But
With the weather we've had, tough to really say what it could be.
yeah, a little bit of up and
Nothing
down.
really set up this year like it normally does. I didn't think so.
Yeah, and then I missed out on hunting the rut this year. I killed my buck pre-rut, and Nate did too. So we didn't get a whole lot of seat time in the stand. I saw some bucks chasing when I went out for a doe, and said, "Man, I gotta get out of the woods. All these bucks running around gonna tempt me."
But no, I would have to agree with Mike. Opening day. No, it wasn't opening day. It was Thanksgiving morning. I saw 2 bucks running together. Didn't see any does. Opening morning, I had a group of. I'm pretty sure they were all does. From what I could tell, come through. It was like 12 of them. It was like a whole. It just seemed like the deer were just grouped together. Kind of like you would get in the later season, grouped around food.
Yep.
Not necessarily running each other everywhere. Yep. So I mean, I definitely saw some of that, and I would agree with Mike and my observations as well.
Yep.
Definitely seemed a little a little earlier this year for them to be grouping up.
Right. Wife commented and said not streaming on Facebook. That's because we're streaming it on the upstate New York one, so it wouldn't be streaming on like our Whitetails and Whiskey page and stuff like that. It'd be streaming directly on the Facebook page of upstate New York Sportsman's because where we're streaming it from tonight with it. So
yeah, and I guess to touch on a little bit more about what Mike was saying there is I think everything this year was, at least to me, it felt a week. Like 2 weeks early. I mean, the crops with the harvest, everything. And I guess you could say the rut. I think the deer activity, the rut activity, started and got, I guess, hot and heavy. Mm-hmm. I would say a week to 2 weeks earlier than I would normally think it would be. You know, usually you're thinking that, you know, first week of November to the, you know, end of the second week of November is usually when I see the most, I guess, the most chasing, the most buck activity for the rut. And it seemed like this year it was like that last week of October, things were going nuts. And so I think possibly them deer grouping up, like he's saying, had to do with a lot of the deer getting bred earlier, a little earlier than normal, I guess.
Right.
yeah, I can see that.
Definitely.
I can definitely see that. So for the shed hunting, that's what we had kind of the poll come in for. What's some of your tips for shed hunting, Nate?
Oh, shed hunting. I mean, I've only really shed hunted the past 3-4 years, and I guess hanging out with you and your strict way of doing the shed hunting. You know, we got the tape measure out. We each got a 20-foot line. We can't break off trail or anything like that. Perfect grid walk. No, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really know much about shed hunting. I knew you just kind of walk around the woods and maybe follow some deer trails and kind of hope to stumble upon something. I guess by hanging out with you, Ben, and going out shed hunting on your piece, first couple of year or two, we were hanging out. I guess kind of opened my eyes to you. It really is just it's kind of by chance. I mean, you walk the deer trails and the grid walk and everything that you do. I think you get a couple buddies, and it's a good time to hang out with some friends or family and get the dogs out and just kind of do a grid walk through your property. Because I mean, focus on food and some bedding areas. I mean, to find antlers, I think that's more of where you would find it. I would think most of the sheds we found on my pieces were in food. Yep. Last year, they were just laying out in the fields.
Mm-hmm. We found three good ones in the last 3 years in the same area, in the same field on the edge. I almost think two of the ones we found were the same deer.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, but we did find the set they were 20 yards apart on the edge of a field. It was just like an edge of a winter wheat field. Yep. Yeah, they were just laying there.
Yeah,
couldn't believe it.
Just hanging out when they drop and they're eating, really. Yeah. It seemed to be a lot of. Two of the nicer ones we found last year on my piece were, just like Mike said, kind of on the edge of a field. One was an alfalfa field, and the other one was, I think it was winter wheat field, cover crop. And then the third one we found was just inside the woods, just on a heavily used deer trail. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think if you're really serious about finding them, I think getting a couple of guys and actually grid walking your property and stuff. I look forward to it just to knock off that winter cabin fever, get outside the woods, walk around,
bring the dog out,
have a little fun. And I also kind of like the idea of being able to intrude on some of those spots in my property that I don't really. Like the heavy bedding areas where you don't really know what's going on all season. You don't want to intrude on them. And it's a good opportunity to go in there and check out what's going on and
do a little
you learn a lot from just do a little scouting and stuff like that. So,
shed scouting.
Yep. Shed scouting.
Yep. You got it. So Hans commented and said, don't start. So yeah, we talked about that kind of at the beginning where, you have to look at your cameras or, usually we don't usually start really going in until probably March.
Really March.
You know, I mean, you can find some right now, but I'm not going to go walk through some of maybe my best bedding areas right now, because if you push them off and they haven't shed yet, you might push them right over to your neighbors where they drop them. So that's a good point, you know. But you could start glassing fields, or you know, if you're going around checking your cameras and you stumble upon one early, you know, it happens. I found them right before Christmas before, so another mic. You're going back to stag, little Jim Beam.
Red stag.
So
Figure we're talking about antlers. We're talking about deer.
there you go.
This has antlers.
Yeah, yeah.
These have not shed yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't found a set of
Snags
antlers
yet.
from a bottle yet.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah. So the big thing with it is don't start too early. Like I said, look at your cameras, stuff like that. But if you do stumble upon one, you know, it's a good time to get out there. Maybe pull your stands down if you pull them down this time of the year, or loosen straps. I mean, whatever. You know, there's other stuff you can do right now. You know, if you want to get out there and scratch, because we are getting some crazy warm weather. I mean, what is it? I think it's still in the 40s out right now. Early January.
Mike's thing over there is at 44.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, 44 degrees.
But no, I think that you can find them early. Again, just depends on, you know, how many you're going to find total versus, you know, what you could find if you just waited another, you know, month and a half, 2 months to get out there.
I think something that added to, I guess, my success was I don't think we planned it, but we also kind of stumbled upon it. At least maybe it was like a little switch or a light bulb that went off in my head. Is, you know, I mean, you get into that February month and you see posts of guys out there shed hunting and everything, and there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground. I think something that helped us find so many is wait for that first really good thaw when majority of the snow is off the ground.
Yep.
And there's not so much white out there, and those antlers, everything's really brown, and those antlers are really pop out
They do.
in a dead forest or a dead field. You get towards the end of February, that early March, and you get a really good thaw, the snow leaves the ground, that's when I would start putting your boot finals in.
Share it to your page.
What's it say? Group is private, so you can't share anything outside of it. Gotcha. So
Maybe we could
figure out a way to share it.
Whitetails. And,
Yeah.
Because yours,
Yeah.
we could share it.
Yeah, like I said, it was streamed over on the page to start with, so.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out some kinks. Like I said, this is all new, trying it on the upstate New York Sportsman's thing, and we're figuring out a few kinks. Like we can't share the post, unfortunately, because it's
Only to the people.
a private group. Yeah, so you'd only be able to watch it if you're on upstate.
Next time we'll maybe do it
Yep.
with yours, and we'll share it. Yeah.
Yep, and if anybody wants to, we could share the link for the. Actually, I'll put that right in the. I'll put that right in the chat right now. The link to the YouTube, and we could share the YouTube link, because that's one that will be private.
And you could go to our group, Upstate NY Sportsman.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Jeff will be adding you in.
So I'm posting the link right in the. Put the link right to the YouTube right in there. So if anybody wants to share the post, episode 18 is in the comments now. Checking the YouTube comments. Speaking of that, Platt chimes in and said, "Hey,
Platt.
And then Platt asked Mike, "Have you been seeing anything during this past bow and muzzleloader seasons?"
So I went out one time for muzzleloader in the regular muzzleloader season, I guess. I did not see anything. I did go out 3 times for the so-called holiday hunt.
Yep.
In between Christmas and New Year. And I saw a bunch of does. I did not see any bucks. However, a buddy I was hunting with had, we were hunting in the hardwoods up near kind of Bristol. And he had some doe come out into a field, but also at the same time, he actually heard a buck that was grunting and somebody had shot, and the deer had scooted by him, couldn't get shot, and he said he looked like a decent sized buck, but he had hurt the deer.
Yep.
So they might have been in a second rut. And it was fairly warm. So
Yeah, the does didn't get bred the first time around.
Yeah.
Cycle them back in.
yeah,
Yep.
2 doe and a buck were together.
Yep, or those doe fawns coming into estrus, getting
Yeah.
old enough and getting the right body weight to start coming in.
But I didn't see many buck in that, but definitely the doe were back out. A lot of the doe were out feeding, you know, because they were back then. You know, they weren't getting pressured anymore for the most part.
Right.
Trying to pack that winter weight on.
Yep.
I think Mike there, chiming in earlier, asked whereabouts we from. We're from the Finger Lakes there, Mike. We're from, I guess, near Geneva, Canandaigua, right in between there.
Yep.
So that's where we're located.
Yeah, we're
Ontario County,
Yep, Ontario County.
north part of the Finger Lakes.
and then Hans commented back in, says don't start as in we don't need any more people out there looking for them with a wink face. Yeah, that's true.
Right,
That's
I gotta
true.
say, it seems like shed hunting's really taken off.
Yeah.
The past few years.
Yeah,
I guess never
definitely.
really hear much of it growing up, and then
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people get into it.
Yeah,
I can see why. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't really get into it until the past, like I said, 4 years.
Yeah.
I really enjoy getting out there, walking around,
Of course, if
being outside.
Hans, it really shouldn't matter. I mean, if you're not on posted property, you know, 'cause
Right. That's right.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
probably. I wonder if guys go up on the state land. Have you ever heard of
I'm sure people do
guys
find them.
doing it up there? Like,
I'm sure they put some miles in on state.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, you probably really got to put miles in. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely parts. I mean, you know, like you said, you find deer this time of the year, you're gonna find sheds.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, and I guess my tip for shed hunting would be don't look for an antler. And I know that kind of seems backwards, but what you're looking for is you're looking for a tine or you're looking for a piece of a beam. You're not looking for a full antler.
Yeah.
You know, to drive yourself nuts.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about all that time. That one our buddy found, I think he still picked it up out of the dirt. One that the worms crawling out of it and everything. That one that CJ found.
Yeah, clumps of moss on it.
Really?
Oh,
I mean,
my
all
goodness.
times are gone. I mean, he picked up. It was just the main beam.
We found my friend Ryan found one 2 years ago, and it looked like it was there for 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
It had some of the mice or squirrel had eaten some of it, but you could actually see the inside of it, and it was almost like it was like a coarse, like pumice.
Yeah, it's like porous.
Yeah, and it was so old that it had moss. And it felt like so light. And then just I want to say it was this past year or last year, we found the other one. It was chewed up even well.
Oh, no
Well, we
kidding.
figured it was the other one
Yep.
because it was right around the same area and it was about the same age.
Yep.
He's got it. Maybe we could at some point post that. He could get a picture of Ryan's listening.
Yeah.
And post the pictures of those antlers. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how well those things can hide. Because how many you shed hunted your property a long time, and
Every year,
you,
yeah.
you walked by that antler how many times lately?
Dozens probably. Somebody
if
did.
not more than dozens.
Somebody did. It's probably where I didn't stretch the tape measure for you.
Yeah, well, it's probably my fault. I probably went about 5 feet out of
Yeah.
alignment.
No.
How many
It
times,
happens, dude. I mean, we find old ones every year,
Yeah.
even as much as we beat the bush. So.
How many times do you see something about 20, 30 feet ahead, and then get up to it, just a branch.
Yep. Absolutely.
You start
Binoculars.
getting- yeah.
Binoculars are a big one. So, you know, that's another one that's a good shed hunting tip. Another one that it's always in my shed pack is a little bit of TP. Never know what nature might call.
TP, yeah.
Yeah. And then
That's always in my hunting bag too.
Yep. And then trying to think of what else for shed hunting tips. Ribbon, if I'm out there, like we said, scouting and stuff like that, I want to mark a stand location or something like that. Or you can use Onyx on your phone nowadays and stuff like that too. But
Onyx is a great tool for that.
yep, good roll of ribbon's always a good thing to have in the pack and handy.
If you got a dog and you want to get them trained up, it's fairly easy for the most part. You could order the antler scent on Amazon or Bass Pro, and you could actually put it on, some antlers that you have, or really anything. And what I usually do is, when my dog was a puppy, hide the antlers out, 2 or 3 antlers with the scent on it, put them out back and around and on the trail out back, and we just walk around and I tell them to get an antler. I'd have them smell it first, one of them, and then we go out and, like I said, I think in the last 3 years he's found 7, 6 or 7 himself, and which is pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's
when he was a puppy, I couldn't believe it. He brought one back to a little 3-point. I think I walked right by that thing, and he comes back with it in his mouth. So, wow, pretty cool.
Yeah, Bear's first solo one was this year. We were out walking, and he was working, like Nate says, we grit it off, and he's running between all of us. And CJ, who does a fair amount of shed hunting with us, he comes over and says, "Hey, Bear's got one."
Yeah.
Bear's toting it over, proud as he got. So yeah, and then if we spot one, typically if we got the dog out with us, we'll run the dog through it, downwind of it or whatnot, and just keep it keep it going with the kind of that positive reinforcement. Always
Absolutely.
reward, treat, whatever your dog's trained to be rewarded. That's what I found the most success in, and make it a game, make it fun. Even if you don't find one, I usually carry like a smaller one in my pack that I can throw out there or something for them too.
Yeah, I've done that.
Keep them engaged. But no, I think that's a good thing. And like I said, just wait on the sheds maybe a little bit, but you might stumble upon one right now out scouting and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for them.
Definitely.
You never know when you're going to find one. So a couple comments coming in over on the Facebook. David comments in, "I have an old apple orchard on my property that yields many apples, but very few deer visit during the season. But after a good thaw in March, that's where we find all of our sheds."
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they don't.
Back to what we were saying.
Yep.
Finding your sheds on food.
Yep.
Probably at that point, the corn and the beans are either they've all been eaten up, covered up,
Harvested.
plowed in, whatever. And at that point, they're looking at the apples that have been sitting there. And
I wonder if David's got a hardier apple. Well,
Yeah,
I know a lot of the
yeah,
apples
rotten.
around here are about gone by the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it could be that some of those older varieties, some of those old, apples that they had, those older variety stocks and
So
stuff
the
like that.
green apples and Granny Smiths, they're supposed to be a later season,
Yeah.
hardier apple, right?
Yep, some of those big old pie apples, I call them. The ones that don't spoil as bad. The ones that, because back then they couldn't preserve them, they couldn't put them in the fridge, so they had to have apples that had longer shelf lives.
Yeah.
So.
I wondered if, they, at that point, of course, the apple orchard, it's kind of open. You're probably not going to see them in the daytime when you're sitting there, but I wonder if Dave has a camera and he's getting night pictures of those deer during season in the orchard.
Yeah.
That would make sense, but,
Yeah.
Because it would probably be hard to hunt an orchard. Like I said, they could, you're underneath the canopy, they can see anybody walking, even if they're bedded there, they're going to get up and run.
Yeah.
Never hunted an actual apple orchard.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. Dave's actually hired me to come out as a consultant this year on this piece, so I'll probably get a chance to look at this apple orchard,
Nice.
pick it apart,
Yeah.
pick it apart a little bit for him.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that.
Taste one of the apples.
Taste one of the apples, see what it's doing. See why the deer are going crazy over these apples in March. March Madness apples.
You got to taste them in March.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Your wife comments in, Mike, says, what would you say is the reason that dogs are so crazy about chewing on and playing with antlers? Our dogs chew them, toss them around, play keep away, etc.
True, we have antlers. We have right upstairs. They carry them around. They chew them. I mean, really, the scent is gone where they fall off, but there's got to be some sort of scent or something. The reason they chew the antler. That's, to me, it
It's like
doesn't
a
smell
bone.
like it.
It's a bone.
Right, but I mean,
I think
It's not like
there's
yours.
probably something in it. It's
Right.
somewhat of a nutritional value to them.
Yep.
I can't tell you exactly what that is. But I'm sure that is the case.
Yep.
And then I know with my dog, I didn't train her on sheds or anything. You guys know Josie. I get really excited. I trained her, and growing up, like mine and her big thing was tennis balls. So, like, I guess something that she knows I would get excited about around her, that she's going to get excited about and want to bring to me. So she's constantly bringing me tennis balls. So I think that it might have a little bit to do with the human interaction. If Mike here, when Rudy has an antler in his mouth, Mike gets all excited about it.
Right.
You know, Rudy's going to get excited about that antler in his mouth.
Right.
So I think that might have a little something to do with it too.
Yeah, going back to that reinforcement. You know, they're pack animals, so they're going to want to please.
Yep.
So,
True.
absolutely. Hans comes in with a pro tip. Sun to your back if possible. No sun. Post rainfall, even better. Real good tips. Solid tips. Absolutely for the shot hunting. Absolutely, because that way you don't get that much, you know, sun washout and stuff like that. You see shadows a little bit more.
True. Everything's darker.
Rainfall, you get everything else is nice and dark and damp, like you know we're getting right now. Like I said, we usually get that in March.
Well, an antler, you get an antler wet, it's got a little shimmer to it.
Yeah,
It's got that. Where most things in the woods are just
Dull.
brown, dull.
Right. A leaf wet is
It'll
just
kind of stick out a little more if it's wet.
Dave comments in, very few trail cam picks in the apples during season, day or nighttime. Don't know. Depends on Jason Cug or stuff like that. Like I said, I'm looking forward to picking it apart this year. And insider tip, Dave's got some whiskey. He says I'm allowed to try too when I'm over there. So connections.
Tell them who you know.
Yeah.
So looking forward to do it all in one. I look forward to the consulting every year, and you know, usually I find half a dozen or a dozen on client pieces while I'm out consulting every year, and they stay with the landowner. I don't take them home with me. I get greedy. They're theirs. I found them on their piece form or whatever. We find them when we're out and about. But yeah. All right. So what else was our second topic? I know shed hunting. That was a big one. Good comments coming in on that. Good conversation. Next, YouTube, Facebook. Dave says he's got a bottle for me.
Oh wow.
Oh man, what a guy! What a guy! Appreciate it, Dave. Thank you.
Dave, don't butter up to him too much. You don't deserve that.
Yeah.
You feel sorry for him.
I probably feel sorry for me. Feel sorry that I'm spreading out all the
Right. You got your little stash.
Yeah. We'll bring the sample kit with me
Like
too.
kid size.
Yeah, the kid size samples from Agent Or. Yeah. They brought a little flavor. I didn't know what everybody would want, so I brought a little bit for everybody, so to speak. Nothing over on the bullhorn, not this week or whatnot, but the second most, I guess, voted on topic for this night's conversation is this past season's success. So, between the three of us, we shot $5.
Right.
So, I mean, did pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I bow season was slow for me. I hunted 12 times, which is not, you know, 10 years ago I was hunting 32 times. But, I didn't see a lot early. The last 2 times I went out, I saw some deer, but I didn't see any big deer. I take that back. One time I messed up on a deer because of a squirrel. I had a squirrel come over on the left, making all kinds of noise, which sounded like a deer. I turned over here, looked like this, in my stand, watched the squirrel, because now I realize it's a squirrel, panned over here, turned back, and I had brought a drag in about 50 yards out in the field. It came in the trail and went right to my stand. Looking back, I should have walked by the trail to my stand. It came back because what happened, it was a very nice buck. Came in and actually turned to come into where my tree stand was. Well, at that point, I just started to turn like this. He was right there, and he saw me, blew and ran. And when he went through the field, he was a very nice buck. And looking back, I should have walked by, came back, and then walked to my stand because I think you would have followed it right up the trail. And unfortunately, I didn't. And the squirrel He may be done if I get him during the squirrel.
Get out squirrel season.
Yeah, he's gonna cost me that deer.
Yeah, no, we talked about getting out and doing some squirrel hunting, coming up too.
Yeah.
I actually have a black one, which we don't see very many of them on our piece. I've never seen one,
Really?
and I almost shot him during bow season, but all I had was a broadhead. So,
Well, if you need a
Decided
black,
not to.
if you've never shot a black squirrel, there's about 3 of them right here on the side wall.
yeah,
Anytime you want. And those black squirrels and the gray squirrels, they run after each other all the time.
squirrel gang wars over here by the outlet.
But those. It's cool to see them. Like I never saw a black squirrel until we moved here, and they're right here in the yard and stuff like that.
Well, the golf course over in Geneva, they got a ton of them.
Yeah, the Big Oak has a lot. Hole number 3, tons of them.
Yeah.
They border.
So that's where we got to go for our black squirrels this year.
Yep.
Well, Jesse, he's all over them. He loves his squirrels.
Yeah.
He's all over them. But going back to Mike's story there about the drag and everything, maybe that's just part of hunting. I mean, we all do things every year, and whether we're successful with them or you either mess up or something happens, I mean, you learn from it.
Yeah.
And then you just add that to your game plan for next time.
Right.
I mean, it's all trial and error every time we really go out.
Yep.
I would have been successful if I was looking that way, because he would have came in. But unfortunately, he had his he must have made it there quick, because I literally looked. I heard the squirrel, looked over here, looked back, and he was right there.
It's pretty funny how them squirrels can be louder than a 200-pound deer.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt.
All the time.
But yeah, I mean, me and Nate, we've talked about it in previous episodes. You can hang back to it. We tell all the stories from all of our bucks and past podcasts and stuff like that. So you'll be able to check those out on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of them and stuff like that. And I'm getting through changing the titles of them and stuff like that from like the specific episode numbers to like maybe what the main focus is. So if we're talking about Nate's bow buck, we'll title it Nate's bow buck or whatever. Was kind of the topic of that episode and stuff like that going forward with it to help folks find more of what they're going for. Except for I gotta go back through and watch every episode now and itemize topics and stuff like that to help people navigate it better. So, but yeah, so there's a bunch on the YouTube page, Whitetails and Whiskey podcast page. That's brand new. It's the first
pictures on there.
Yeah, first night we're streaming it on our YouTube page. First live stream, and then it'll be uploaded afterwards, so you can go back and watch it if you gotta, go let the dog out, head to bed, whatever. But yeah, so this is all new to us. We're just still trying to figure it out, even after 18 episodes.
Yeah. So actually, I got a thought. I guess kind of reeling back to the shed hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the excitement of shed hunting if you find a shed, especially if it's a nice side. Oh wow, this deer's on this property. Or maybe you got pictures of them, you can line it up. There's always that excitement. But then, of course, one of the first things I saw when I walked in here under Mike's table is the negative side of shed hunting. Sometimes you find things that are really disappointing in the woods.
Yeah.
But they're cool to find.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool to find, but Mike, I think these were friends of yours, or you said you found them.
One was a local roadkill. And that one was a farmer had called me up and says they had to drag a deer out of the field so they could combine the corn. And this is what they dragged out. They thought it was hit. They asked if we hit it with the gun or the bow, and nobody did. And when I went up there to get this, it had been hit by a car. You could actually see the skid marks in the road. And about 150, 200 yards out, the deer laid and must have died. So I got that off. I wasn't going to leave that.
Yeah, we're not leaving that one for the
No, don't leave that one for the show.
It almost got ran over by a John Deere.
Yeah.
But they had to drag it off to the side. They told me about. And then that one there, that was hitting Phelps. And it was right in front of my buddy's house. And it doesn't look like much of antlers. It looks kind of weird here. But the deer itself on this rack was huge. My buddy actually kept it. He kept the deer. The sheriff gave him a tag. He kept the meat.
Yep.
There was actually just one hind quarter that was gone, but he got a ton of meat off this deer. So, I mean, like I said, it doesn't look like much. He gave me the antlers because I helped him cut it up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
But that's part of the negative side of shed
Yeah.
hunting, or you get a call
Yeah.
from a farmer, they be like, "Hey, we found this deer over here. You want to come look at it?" And,
Yeah, that's
there's always
you found both sheds, but not the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like
Both sides, but they're still
Yeah, both.
connected.
it's cool to still have the antlers, but it's more fun to either harvest the animal or find the shed and the animals. You're still able to chase them.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But yeah, so, and then I guess topic number 3, that was the most requested topic, was finding more success in 2023. So, Mike, what's a tip you got for, maybe somebody that didn't find as much success, or maybe something that you're going to do a little different going into this upcoming season?
Well, a lot of things that I do each year, especially this time of year and into the spring, is I do some winter scouting. Obviously we haven't had much snow around here. Buffalo, they may be different.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of areas in New York State are different. They have snow. Generally, if we have snow for a week or two, I'll grab the dog and we'll just go out and walk, and you kind of see where the deer are moving. And if you have a good snow cover for a week or two, and you don't keep getting a lot more, you can see where those deer runs are.
Mm-hmm.
And the deer generally in January and February are back to where they're going to be in the fall. So I read an article years ago, a couple articles about winter scouting, and it is. I mean, you could go and you could walk out in your woods and go, wow, I didn't realize the deer are moving through this section.
Yep.
But certainly they are, because they're walking through the snow.
Yep.
And I believe that, and come bow season, they're still going to be walking that path or near it. So you can change up some of your stands if some of your stands aren't real hot the last couple of years. The deer patterns could have changed, and you find those trails in the winter and move up some stands. That's what I do. I like doing some winter scouting.
Yep. What about you, Nate? What's your tip for 2023?
Tip for 2023. I've been kind of doing, I guess, this routine for, the past 3-4 years, and I've had quite a bit of success with it. There's just so much that goes into it. There's so much time, energy, and money to actually be, to be successful. And sometimes you're not, and you still do all that. But I guess something I do, I just take a break this time of year. Honestly, if I was hunting a new piece, I would definitely be a little more excited to get out there during the shed season and do a little winter scouting, like Mike said. But the pieces I hunt, I've been hunting for a few years now. I guess something it's tough because they're all permission pieces for me. I don't really get an opportunity to do a lot of maybe adding a food plot here, or there's not really a whole lot I can change on my pieces. I think I got it pretty well dialed in. The farmers did change some fields from alfalfa fields to corn or bean fields, which I think is going to change a little bit. I am going to add a few stands to that, especially for the gun. But for the most part, I just kind of take it easy for now. I'll go out for shed season and hopefully find some sheds. When it comes to putting my cameras back up, I already have my cameras down. I usually, once I'm done hunting, I go out and pull them. Just because I'm on permission pieces, I've had stuff stolen and stuff like that before. So
all
when
have-
season's over, I would prefer to get my stuff out of there because we all know how expensive cameras can be.
Yep.
But and then I don't really focus much on the deer again until about August. I'll go back out once the velvet starts, right before the velvet starts coming off. I'll just throw my cameras up, maybe freshen up some mock scrapes, maybe add a mock scrape or anything like that. And then it's just a waiting game. Wait maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, go out there, pull my cards, see what's popping up on camera, and then once I get a good deer on camera, I just sit there and take my photo data and just try to make a game plan for bow season on how to kill that animal, and that's pretty much how I do it.
And a lot of luck. I mean,
a lot of luck.
A lot of times we could all be good, but I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
some of the biggest bucks are just luck. They.
Yeah.
And you could watch a deer. You could watch that deer all year long, and somebody else gets it.
Yep.
That happens.
It's just luck. I mean, and that's great as long as it don't get hit by a car. I'd rather see somebody harvest it than a deer get hit. And so many times around here we see that.
Yep. Yeah. It's And then then once we get close to season, I really last 2 to 3 weeks of September, I really try and stay completely out of my hunting spots. And then once season starts, I do not go in and pull cards unless I'm hunting near that camera.
Yep.
I do not pull the card before my hunt
Yep.
unless I'm immediately walking by it. Yep. I wait until after my hunt. I will walk over and I'll grab it.
Yeah.
And then it's just hunting the wind, hunting it smart. Not hunting a spot to where your wind's gonna be blowing deer out of your hunting spot.
Or too many times.
Too many times. Early season this year, I barely got out the first 2 weeks. Just I've never had much success with it. I don't really want to. I'm saying on the podcast, but my hopes is that my neighbor's gung ho the first 2 weeks. That's before it all gets good.
Yep.
And he's out there putting pressure on his piece, and then I go in there when things start getting a little hotter with deer movement, and hopefully with deer a little more comfortable in the area. I found some success in that, and actually being able to see deer.
Hoping he tags out on a nice 6 point.
Nice 6 point.
More power to you.
Yeah,
Shoot the spike.
Shoot the spike.
Yeah.
It's all relative. Whatever people are out there trying to get. If
Absolutely.
you're out there, just
It's deer season.
Whatever. What's the saying? If
You
jack-
shoot,
if
you
jacks
wanna
you up, jack him up.
Yep.
But
I had a couple comments come in from Dave. So I had a lease in Naples for 3 years, and I never saw so many bucks on any other property I've hunted in 40 years. Yet we hardly found any sheds. So yeah, sometimes I see that seasonal shifts. Going to food. It might be a big acorn flat down in Naples. Might be that they get into heavy hemlock cover for thermal protection.
Pressure.
Every year, pressured. I've seen some shifts and stuff like that, and like we said, if you go in there early and bump them out, you probably won't find as many sheds either if you're bumping deer all around. So, definitely sticking out of the thickets and, the heavy used food sources and stuff like that. If you got to slip in and get a camera or something, but I'm not putting a ton of miles on yet, for sheds. For
Of course,
sure.
and if you're hunting, those deer could be moving because of other hunters.
Mhm.
And after season, they're back to where those properties are hanging the most.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that in pieces that they utilize it during certain parts of the year, whether it's summertime, properties, and then during the fall they kind of leave.
Yep.
Could be habitat related, could be pressure related, like you said. A lot of factors could go into it too. So
We found that where we've gotten deer on camera over the years from last year. July, August, like they're growing September. And don't see them for a while. And then the cameras are still up, and then late season, they're coming back through again, but they're never on camera again during, 6-8 weeks is deer season.
Yep.
You know, and then all of a sudden they pop back up, but it's weird the way they do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I talk about this. I guess my 2 tips for a more successful 2023. First of all, is look at your property access wise. I mean, Nate touched on it. You know, Mike touched on it when not going too hard into your pieces and stuff like that. But really looking at how to access your piece, and if you think you got it down, look at it again. I guess is the easiest way to put it.
Walking in and out of your hunting piece is where you're going to scare the most deer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And bother the most deer. Sitting in your stand, not necessarily, but definitely walking in, walking out.
A lot of times when I go into if I got to do work on my property, like in September, you know, I'm busy all summer. A lot of times I can't get in. I'll bring the 4-wheeler.
Yep.
And because I feel that if you're on the 4-wheeler, it's going to you're not going to spook as many. I mean, they're used to tractors, they're used to trucks. Cars are driving up and down the road, not bothering them. So a 4-wheeler really, you know, it's not like you're running right through their bedding area. You're on a trail generally. And we had our property logged over 10 years ago, and when the skidder would leave, the skidder left a couple different times during that evening, and I would walk out there, and there was already deer tracks where they were working an hour before. And so, you know, they're kind of curious, and they're, you know, and they hear, you know, if you just walk out there, I think they spook a little more. But if you're with a 4-wheeler, I think or a tractor. If you got a tractor, you go out with that.
Yep.
You got to do some work out there.
It's definitely a difference to, I guess, the deer definitely respond different to a motorized vehicle versus you walking.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
there's definitely, I think we touched on that in another episode too. But yeah, I would agree with that, Mike. It's definitely, I mean, I don't know if I would drive a 4-wheeler directly under your stand.
No.
But definitely, if you have to sneak by a spot where you know the deer are probably hanging out, maybe it might be an option to cruise the 4-wheeler by it and then walk the rest of the way.
Yeah, access I think would be my number one thing, and it's the biggest piece that I correct on my client pieces is access, and that's why I just hammer it so much, is because that's the biggest problem I usually see on properties is how people access them, or kind of the layout with the access. You know, and kind of the relation to it.
Not necessarily how, but when you access it. I mean, you can't walk into a certain property when your wind's blowing. Blowing you all through the woods.
I mean,
if you gotta access it with proper conditions also.
And I mean, by now every hunter that you know is serious about hunting, you know, everybody has a smartphone now. All you got to do is pull up 2 or 3 different apps. I mean, or just one, and just it shows you the wind. I mean, this is where the wind's coming from, and you know,
I would say generally they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get big buck, I mean, look at that. But sometimes the wind, I've got out to a spot and the wind is swirling. You know, the wind will say coming out of the northwest. Well, great. I get there and it's southeast for some reason. I'm like, what happened here? So
It
you never know.
Changes up.
Yeah, it definitely kicks back around. You know,
terrain has a lot to do with
terrain. I was just going to say that terrain can influence it. There's spots that, like Mike said, it's supposed to be coming from this way, and it's almost the exact opposite way. You know, it just happens to be. And sometimes you got to hunt to find that out. You know, or be in there when the wind's blowing that way to find that out. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can take advantage of with the wind, where it's almost a quote wrong wind spot, where the wind blows the right way, the wrong wind.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just about finding those spots, and this time of the year is a good time to get out there and find it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a couple comments to catch up on. Jeff comments in, says, "What times of day have you been most successful for you?"
I gotta go evenings. Evenings, I've definitely been more successful in the evenings. Not to say I haven't had awesome morning sits and I've been successful in the morning. One of the biggest bucks I've ever shot with my bow was in the morning. But I would say overall success across the board. I mean, with bucks and does, we'll just say a flat percentage, I would definitely say I'm more successful in the evenings.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. I definitely think. I mean, most of my hunt. Well, I guess the majority of the time I've hunted over, the last 30 years, have been in the evening. I used to get out of school and go hunting, get out of work and go hunting. So it'd be the last hour and a half. So yeah, I've had a lot of luck in the evening. But yeah, I didn't really. Nate said. I mean, there's some great morning hunts. I mean, right first thing. I mean, the deer coming back, you get some nice buck, or trying to get back to their bedding area or get there. But all in all, the evening sits, the last half hour, especially later in the gun season or bow season, they're coming out to feed. It's just, I've had a lot of good luck. Putting deer down, harvesting deer.
Yeah, I'll just differ on that, I guess, a little bit. That I'd say if it's pre-rut, and I'm hunting a buck, morning is when I want to be out there. Yeah. And then once it gets to be late season, like when I shot my buck this year with my pistol, or gun season or whatnot, I was on food. So
yeah,
that's
right.
It's just kind of changes, kind of based on the time of the year too, a little bit with it. But
right.
I do love those morning sits. That's my favorite, and I've shot a lot of good bucks on that morning, or even midday. I've killed 2-3 of them between like 11 and 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
those midday cruisers, if you're in the right pinch or something like that, or between bedding areas, you never know when they're going to break through and come through a little sliver that you're in.
Yeah.
So, Dave commented back in. It was a heavy acorn flat in Naples. He said, "You're good." Called it. That's the thing. It's different down there, dude. You get some southern tier, you get eastern New York, foothills, the Adirondacks. It turns into acorn flats, clear cuts, the old apple orchard maybe from an old homestead or something like that. That's the best game in town over there. Or recently logged pieces. It's not like some of the areas up here where it's all ag based for food source. It just different.
I spent a lot of time hunting up in the Canada area.
Yep.
And it's the same thing as Bristol. It's all right there. All mountains, big woods and everything. And acorns are the hot topic around there.
Yep. Well, like I said, if we had a few more clear cuts, I mean, those are deadly in the southern tier. Those timbered areas and over timbered and stuff like that, they can be absolutely deadly. Especially for some of these public land spots that are finally getting some timber harvest on them and stuff like that. Or if you're going down big woods in Pennsylvania where they do a lot of timber harvesting, on rotation, dynamite areas where you find the timber harvest is where you're going to find the deer.
Yeah.
Because that's where the food is down there. Do you want to go to, if you're a deer and you got to eat, 3-4 pounds, 5 pounds of sticks and twigs and acorns and stuff every day, it's really hard to make a living in a wide open woods where there's no food.
Yeah.
You got to be there where there's that browse and that acorn, that mass. Otherwise, you're going to make a hard living. You're not going to see many of them.
Yeah.
R.C. Weston chimes in, said, "Howdy, neighbor." Close by to you, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, he lives next door here.
Yep. There you go.
How about to touch on turkey season?
Yeah, turkey season was was actually the lowest pick on this, surprisingly, for topics. But I know Mike's a huge turkey hunter. Me and Nate enjoy it as well, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk a little turkey. We don't have any. We do have some turkey. I did bring a little Russell's Reserve 10-year.
And we got we that up for the.
Yeah. We found the old wild turkey inflatable that Mike won at a golf tournament way back when. But yeah, I was gonna say I don't have any Russells with me tonight, or wild turkey. Nice. I forgot I got that Russell's Reserve I brought. So I'm a big turkey guy for turkey whiskey.
Right. Well,
But let's talk some turkey, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, where do we start? Other than obviously it's 4.5 months away. For the youth hunt comes up for. I love over the years I've brought many youths out and got them their first bird. Matter of fact, 2 different years I went out a Saturday, Sunday with 2 different kids and got them both a bird, and it it was great. You know, the parents got it on video, some of it. I mean, it was just. But yeah, turkey season is one of my favorites. Spring turkey. It's something I look forward to every year. My buddies and I, we get together. My buddy Tommy and Ryan and I, every opening day, we always sit together. We don't care who shoots.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to shoot a bird.
Yep.
And afterwards, we go to breakfast.
Yep.
I always try to get my buddy Tommy to buy. He's got the most money, but he's usually the cheapest. But he's going to kill me for saying that. But no, we just turkey season. I mean, maybe we'll get some questions on turkey.
Yep.
I know this year my friend Ross, I plan on bringing his son Brady out. Last year we had about 7 different gobblers around us in a spot, and the unfortunate thing is there was 7 different gobblers, and that's hard to believe that I say that. And the only reason is we actually, I had them turn this way because the gobblers were coming in here, but then the gobbler would gobble behind us and was coming into the woods behind us from the field. So I had him turn this way. Well, that gobbler didn't come in yet, but now these ones were coming back towards us. So I had him turn back over here. And when I had him turn back over here, 3 minutes later, I go like this, and 20 yards from me, this turkey is literally standing looking at me. And, I mean, he could have smoked them, but how do you know? These birds are gobbling this. I mean, it was one of those times that we had too many birds. If we had one bird coming, we would have set up. And we just had to keep moving around. But we weren't in a blind this year. I think we're gonna set up a blind for us. And, it's easier for the kid to move around and us to move around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Derek's tuning in. He's complaining to me about switching over to a new channel. So Derek's a buddy of mine from college who works out with Idaho Fish and Game.
Oh.
Yeah, Tunnel.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but he just gave me flat because he breaking my balls.
Sure. Well, tell Derek to join up. See that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he says, Hogweed, that was my nickname in college. So what are we drinking tonight? We're drinking a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We got some.
Yeah, smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. Mike was gracious enough to let us finish off his green label. And then I brought a couple, and we've been drinking some Stag. But since we're getting ready to talk turkey, we might break into that Russell's and just rinse my glass out. I know Nate's over here. He's putting the hammer on that blade and bow.
I do like the blade and bow.
That's like your favorite.
I got all the whiskey you make me try that blade and bow.
Yeah. So Derek says Nate, hope all is well.
Doing good, Derek. Hope you're doing good.
Derek says he finds more success in Idaho hunting more first light in the morning. But yeah. Out there, we talk about thermals and stuff, but out there it's wind tunnels through thermals, stuff like that. So, yeah, I know Derek, he hunts a lot more big game, elk, all that kind of good stuff. So,
nice.
It's and he works for Fish and Game, so he gets to do all of his scouting when he's out there.
Oh, yeah,
in the field.
He's been out there ice fishing, partying it up.
Let me check out this project.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 10,000 acres is a small piece.
Sure.
Yeah. But Derek says he's been out ice fishing all day. He's got a solid buzz going. And they got a lot of ice out there in Idaho. And he hammers the fish out there.
Yeah, I got a buddy, a former neighbor that he's in the military. He's out of Anchorage.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Air Force, Chris Walter. And he's been sending me pictures. He moved to Alaska, him and his wife, and they just had a baby. And he's been doing a ton of ice fishing. He goes out all the time. And mainly because there's not much else to do in Alaska in the winter.
Yeah,
and he's catching salmon and all kinds of, I said, well, that's great.
Yep.
Sending me pictures. And,
That's awesome.
I never got in ice fishing because I'm always the biggest guy, and I figured I'll go through before you guys do.
You're the human spot.
Yeah,
Send
right.
Mike out. If he don't go through, the
Get
rest
out
is
there.
good.
And Derek, I've talked to Derek a couple times out there with the turkeys. He says turkeys are dumb. He says I got 5 off of my train tracks this year in my house. He is
I'm
so
sure.
tore up with turkeys, and there is nobody that hunts them out there
No kidding.
in Idaho.
Yeah.
And he says, I forget what the bag limit is. It's something. I think it's like 7, 8
No
birds
kidding.
or something ridiculous.
Well, Derek, you got room? Maybe we'll come out here.
Take us out, Derek. Take us on a turkey hunt. It sounds like a video game out there.
Yeah,
You
right.
just like run by, you shoot
Right.
one.
It's a turkey shoot.
Turkey. Yeah.
It's a real turkey shoot.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, no kidding. No, Derek, I always appreciate you chiming in, and he's a couple hours behind us, ahead of us. I forget how it works for that. I don't know. Behind us, so he's just probably getting off the ice at this time. Back on the Facebook side of things, Dave commented in, "Gotta go, great stuff, guys. Ben, looking forward to having you walk my property and sipping some bourbon. Cheers, boys. Cheers, Dave. Thanks for tuning in."
They-
Appreciate it. And I poured because, like I said, we're going to get into some turkey talk.
Yep.
I poured a Russell's. If you want to try that, the Russell's 10 is probably my favorite turkey one other than that.
Oh, you guys are introducing me to whiskeys that I've never even heard of. You know,
One right now. This is your pro tip of the night, and another shout out to our go-to liquor store, K&M Discount Liquor. Has Russell's 10-year on the shelf every day of the week, and you can buy that for $40.
the red stag's gone. I'll try a little Russell.
On a
We're talking turkey.
on a 10-year-old bourbon.
Talking turkey.
10-year-old bourbon. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me to chime in on the turkey thing, I've never really been a big turkey hunter. I enjoy going out, being out in the outdoors, and I enjoy hanging out with friends. I guess for me, deer hunting is a little more. Me and Mike were talking about this the other day. So it's kind of become a little more of a solitude thing, even in gun season, with like the property lines and not being able to do the big drives like people used
Yep.
to. And I guess doing things like this or meeting up with your buddies for a beer after a hunt. I mean, that's your camaraderie, or cutting a deer up. I guess hunting as a group is really kind of shrunk a little bit.
Right.
Where turkey season, I would say it's like waterfowl hunting, but I mean you're sitting next to your buddy, you guys are together, you're communicating through the whole thing. You know, there's a little more interaction with it. I do enjoy that. Mike actually got me out. Oh, how long has it been? 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Oh, probably a good 5 or 6 years.
5, 6.
Yeah.
But Mike got me out. And I learned a lot from Mike with the calling and how to set up. Where, you know, before I was just going out there winging it, just because I wanted to do it. No one really showed me a whole lot about turkey hunting. And I learned a bunch from Mike, and then hanging out with Ben. Last year we were successful. I got my first long beard. Mike set me up on a good long beard, but miscommunication.
Two.
The bird got away, but
Twice.
I'm hard headed. Sometimes it takes time. But yeah, I mean, for turkey hunting, that's about it for me. I'm definitely, I guess, going out hunting with guys that are successful, like Mike and Ben, really kind of turned me a little more onto it. It's a little more involved, and seeing how it actually works, I guess, has definitely turned me on to turkey hunting over the years. But I guess that's my little take on turkey hunting.
Yeah. Good season, and that hunt, I was actually able to film it, and that's up on the Old Tin Cup YouTube page.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that bird came in, and Nate, I thought he was about gonna just shoot the bird and say screw it, but I kept telling him to wait and be patient, and then
Ben wanted him to put on a show, and I'm like, this is my first long beer. I'm like, come on.
he's right there.
Yeah, we actually talked before the podcast came on. The 3 of us.
Mhm.
And we're gonna hopefully team up this year and at least do one turkey hunt together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like we were saying, we don't care who pulls the trigger.
Mhm.
We shoot a bird. Somebody shoots one. We'll go to the next spot, and now we only got 2 guns.
Yep.
The other guy can film or watch, and then it gets around like 9, 10 o'clock.
Maybe we'll all get one.
Maybe we'll all get one and go to
Who knows?
breakfast early.
Who knows?
That's the best way.
But yeah, No,
That might be one of my favorite parts about turkey hunting.
Yeah.
Swinging into burned area and getting that first cup of coffee after the first hunt.
You know, when you're really, if you're really successful and you're done early, you know, it's time to go to the countryside.
The countryside,
Yeah.
Nice big.
Yeah, you don't just gotta swing in the gas station.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta get the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Usually after that first sit for turkeys in the morning, I'm ready for a big cup of coffee.
Yeah, I look forward to those calls from my dad every year. Usually I'm sitting at work and stuff like that, starting to get stuff done for getting ready for the day at college, and I'll hear that call me, and all he just says, "Boo!" And I know what happened. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my dad's the one that got me into turkey hunting. He's a turkey killing machine. He's killed a lot of birds, dude. A lot of birds, a lot of really tough birds. That some of them took a couple years to get after and kill, and some of those most memorable ones, including some of the ones I screwed up when I was real little going with them.
Right. Well, in the last 18 years, I've called in 16 first birds.
Mm-hmm.
That's first birds for people.
Yeah.
That's including 60-year-old men to 12-year-old kids. And I mean, I'm proud. And my wife. My wife shot her. I was there with my wife, and she shot her first bird, first and only. And she still brags.
My sister-in-law.
11-inch beard.
Yeah.
It was 11-inch beard.
Bigger than Brad, I would realize.
And, yeah, it's the biggest one because I've never shot one that big. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah. So every time we walk by, right up here in the hallway, that's the biggest bird in the house.
So she tells you about
Oh yeah.
Let you know.
Got to.
Yeah.
She's got it.
Yeah, rubs it in.
Got it.
Just like your wife, she shoots all the big bucks.
Yeah.
She shoots bigger bucks than I do.
Yeah, she stays out of the woods a little more, just to give me a little more of a fighting chance.
Right.
Hunt's a smart.
But no, yeah, Mike, you're definitely very generous with taking people out with the birds. I know I was on a hunt with you. I think Eliza was there. I think it was me, Eliza, Kylie, my sister-in-law.
It was Caleb, you, Kylie, and I for Kylie's first bird.
Yeah, it was Caleb. It was Caleb.
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was 3 or 4.
That was cool. I got probably from, probably 50 yards away, because me and Caleb were posted up on a tree, then you and Kylie were posted up on a tree.
Yep.
And I think we had some birds coming one way, and then
We
one hammered really close behind us. We had to quickly turn around and set up, and Kylie ended up getting the shot off. And I watched the whole thing go down. Bird came in strutting. It was through the woods. It was cool.
Kylie still talks about me jumping up and getting to the bird in 3.7 seconds.
Yeah.
She actually said if any NFL team saw that, I would probably be signed right there. Defensive tackle.
Oh yeah.
That was a. I mean, you were jumping over logs.
Oh yeah, she
juking trees to get to that bird, and I'm pretty sure you still made a good 40 time.
I definitely made it there and got the bird. I always make sure I get to the bird, make sure it's not getting up and going away.
Absolutely.
No,
that was fun, and that's what I like. A lot of people say, I got a lot of spots to hunt, but I'm not stingy with them. I bring people out. You guys have been hunting with me. I've had many people out hunting with me. I get people deer every year. I get people turkey every year, and it's not about. I don't care if I get the deer or I get the turkey. If I bring somebody out and they get a deer or we get a deer, that's what it's about. It's about the harvest. It's about the hunt. A lot of people, I see it. It's like and I understand maybe they only have one spot to hunt, but this and that. But I enjoy people coming out with us. Friends, hey, I got friends that hunt 3 or 4 times a year. That's it. Yeah. Hey, come on out. I'll try to get you a deer. Sit up in that tree stand. You're going to get a deer.
Yep.
I did that. One of my buddies, he goes, yeah, I haven't got a deer yet this year. And I had pneumonia at the time. I said, go sit in my tree stand in between the 2 fields, on my property. Yeah. I said, you're going to shoot a deer. There's doe coming out every night. You shot a big doe. He goes, hey, thanks a lot. I got a deer in the freezer. Yep. That's what it's about. It's we team up because someday I might need help to get a deer, and he might help me. It's what it's about.
Yep.
Harvest, the harvest and the hunt.
Yep. Absolutely. And being able to share the stories and stuff on the podcast and stuff like this is a big piece of why we do it too. And if we can help you guys learn from our mistakes, even better.
Yep.
Because we made a lot of them over the years.
We're one big
Cumulatively,
team.
I'm sure.
We all look good, we all look good together. We all help each other. That's what it's about.
Yeah, did you see RC's comment?
What do you say?
RC's comment is, fun fact of the night, Mary fell in love with Mike because of his turkey calling ability.
Well, I mean, I always say, I always tell people, I will never ever win a turkey calling contest, ever.
But neither will a hen.
But I will put myself up against the turkey calling competition, the winner, in a turkey hunt any day. That's my claim to fame. I don't sound as good as him, but I'm a better hunter. How's it?
There you go. Yeah. I gotta say, you call him in. That's for sure. You definitely stack the bird up.
It's all about listening to birdie. Like I said, you don't got to sound the best. How many times you go out there and sit, and that hen sounds? You're like, is that even a turkey?
Yeah.
Is there another hunter over there?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, is that a real turkey that I'm hearing right now? It is. And then this hen walks by, and you're like, how old are you?
Yeah.
It used to be a dance. Little smoker boys.
A lot lizard turkey.
Fix all your eyes, buddy. Make the woods go around.
I'll sit with you if you give me a bite. I'll call him in the face.
You got a Marv Shark.
Marv Shark and some crack corn.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well.
Yeah, RC comments back in. Facts. Always see deer when I'm out with Mike.
Yeah, RC's last deer. He doesn't get out much. He's a coach. He's a college swim coach. Does a great job. He's down at Hobart William Smith, but he doesn't get out much. I try to get him out more, and I think next year he says he's going to, because I got to get him off. I got to get him out and get hunting more. But I did bring him out a couple times. He got deer, so that's what it's about, So yeah. We'll RC. We'll get you out. Yeah, we're gonna get you off that couch and come out with this fat guy.
Yeah. Out of the pool. Derek comments in, in Idaho you can shoot hens and gobblers.
Wow.
But yeah, he was telling me, dude, it's unreal with what they got for turkeys out there.
I don't know if I want to shoot a hen, but yeah,
if you got that many of them, I
don't
right.
know. They walk in like a flock of geese.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah,
like sparrows out there.
Yeah, right.
You can't keep them out of the feeder.
I might have to buy the cheap turkey loads if I went out there. Not the $6.
Yeah, Derek says drinking aged Miller Lite in a finely crafted beer koozie. Getting fancy.
Is that Derek?
Yeah.
I bet you're listening to Luke Bryan also.
When we get Derek started on Luke Bryan, he was big time against Luke. But Derek says he enjoys chasing his chuckers, quails, and huns and pheasants with his dog way more than turkey.
There you go. Yeah, pheasants.
Yeah, you're getting some of those, some of those prairie areas where he is too. He can get into some really nice pockets of birds.
That'd be awesome. My dog loves them.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's kind of the best of all these worlds. So, Mike, we're looking for number 17, new hunter. RC says he's never been turkey hunting.
Well, I mean, all he's got to do is ask,
And get up early.
I think he did. I think he asked right there.
RC getting up early. We could do a late hunt. Meet me at 11:30.
See if we get all one up the last half hour.
I told him, I said, listen, you got to get a bird. I'll get him a bird. We'll get a bird. But yeah, plan on getting up at least by 4 o'clock. So, yeah,
it's early.
We'll see.
I mean, we did it last year. Made it count.
I mean, I could always bring. We could always go out and
shoot
one,
birds
and
first.
then 9 o'clock I'll pick up RC.
You just take a picture with it.
Get a sight.
You can walk over. You can slide one over.
Yeah, this is the second shift bird.
Yeah. They're actually, I've shot a lot of birds in after 9 or 10 a.m.
Oh yeah.
They break off from the hens. And,
Where's
boy, all of a
that
sudden they're
turkey
coming
night?
in.
I feel like most of the turkeys I've seen shoot are around 10 o'clock.
Three times I've actually left a spot with a tom with a bunch of hens and came back about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we shot that tom because the hens now were either off to the nest or off,
Yeah, we messed up on another bird last year with Nate. We did the same thing. Left him, and we shouldn't have left him, and then next thing you know, we come back, and he's right where we were setting up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That happens too.
So, that one, I think we should have just double beated him with the trigger.
Oh my gosh.
He was right there.
Yeah, that one bird last year, we had this big bird we chased around all last year. Never ended up getting him. And we chased him a couple times, and we had him come in, and I thought he would come in off this little drumlin to come down, and he just wanted to stay up there and strut. We had the hen come right in.
The hen was right there, like 10 yards.
The hen was within 20 yards, and he just sat up there on that little drumlin, and if we would have 1-2-3'd him, we would have been able to level him. But we thought he would have committed, and then it just didn't work out. We had some really good hunts though.
Actually, I took another buddy of mine, Jesse, and I actually called and killed my first bird. Called my own bird in and killed it. It's the first one I ever did that.
Yep.
I did that over right across the road from my house, Mike, right there by West Falls Camp.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It was a Jake, but
hey.
I called him in and
Listen,
Thumped him.
it was a little bit of a long shot, but I made it happen.
It's a legal turkey.
Yep.
Bearded bird.
Yeah. That's a good harvest.
But yeah, I was actually.
Sure you busted it out
I just
and made
remembered that. That was a big accomplishment for me, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
That's great.
I actually called my first bird in and killed it.
Nope. Absolutely. RC says perfect. I'll set my alarm for 8:45. Yep. No, don't sleep on that second shift, man. I mean, that's what we always called it. My dad and me was second shift, is after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
As the second shift time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if I'm out hunting, unless in the mornings I hunt, before work, we go if we're not getting anything, we'll go right till noon. Unless it's 70 degrees, then I'm like, okay, I've had enough.
Well, and on those days, I see them loaf more in the woods.
Absolutely.
They get out of the fields a lot more.
Yep.
And they're more back in the timber, which you can kill them back in the timber.
Absolutely, yeah.
We talked about that. Me and Nate did on how we'd set up different on those birds next year. So we'll go see if we can chase those birds and get that old rascally Tom. He's put another 1/4 inch on his spurs and got a little bit smarter, but we kind of figured out some of his pattern and scheme, and we'll see if we can connect with him next year. He should be a pretty nice bird. He was a nice bird last year or something. And he had another time that he was running with that was kind of his support bird or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
So
yeah, you see that sometimes.
Yep. But no, I think that's pretty darn good. So
that's about it.
Let me think. Last topics was the other ones was food plots and habitat projects, but I think those would be good ones for next time around.
Okay.
I think we hammered it pretty good on an hour and 20.
Yeah.
Hour 25. That's about what we normally run for these episodes. So anybody tuning in on the YouTube side of stuff, head over to Upstate NY Sportsman's or go to their website, upstatenysportsmans.com, and get yourself some of these mean green decals.
Yeah.
And
can I take one of these for my garage?
Yeah. I got a bunch over here.
Yep. And then got the Trout Derby coming up.
Yep.
Give that
April
a quick
1st.
shout out.
April 1st. It's going to be our 16th annual Trout Derby. We get around 200 participants each year. Usually around 60 to 70 youth, which are 15 and under. Tons of prizes, tons of stuff. My buddy Chris Lester at Screaming Real Charters out of Kendall, he donates a charter every year. So I mean that's huge. you could go to Naples, you could go to Powder Mill.
Mhm.
You're not going to get what you get at our tournament.
Yeah.
We give hot dogs out, food, cookies. We have breakfast. I mean, you name it, we got it. Our fire department usually makes breakfast sandwiches, which we're going to probably do again this year. You can come and you can obviously go to our fire department.
Mhm.
Yeah, come check us out. We'll be on Facebook Live here like this
Mhm.
for the ceremony and everything too. So
Yep, that's right in Phelps, New York.
right in
Phelps
Phelps,
Fire.
you can fish anywhere in the Canandaigua Outlet, Flint Creek, and like I said, this will be our 16th annual. So if you haven't checked it out, go on our. We actually have a Facebook page. The Trout Derby page, Upstate NY Sportsman Trout Derby.
Mhm.
Yeah, check it out.
Absolutely. And for everybody tuning in on the Upstate NY Sportsman's page, if you want to see more of these episodes or watch more of our episodes, you can go right down to YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can click right down in the bottom corner and subscribe to the channel. That way you know every time we put a new video up and stuff like that. And who knows, we'll be maybe doing an Upstate collab with a turkey hunt.
Yeah.
The Trout Derby. I know Mike talked about getting the camera up there and the mic and helping him out with the Trout Derby this upcoming year and getting some good quality content up on the page for them and
maybe before then we'll like you said we'll team up on another podcast and go from there.
Get the buzz up going on it. And
I think we'll definitely do another one here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anytime. Nice setup, and Mike cranks this heater in here. I think it was 69 degrees when we started. We almost didn't want to wear our hoodies.
Yeah, I know.
And now it's only, I think, 64.
Yeah. 62.
Yeah.
44 outside. Yeah. So we
nice and insulated garage.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for tuning in tonight to the Whitetails and Whiskey podcast. Thanks, Mike, for having us.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing another one. And until next time, guys, take care.
All right.
Appreciate it.
So long.
Cheers.
Cheers.